Hey, Mr. Clash here. We know that what troops are the best to use for which particular base video, and today we're going to have a look at this base, and we're also going to have a look at another base that is hit by another player. But we're going to have a look at this base first, my attack. Now, before I go into the particulars of this base, I just want you to have a look at a base that I prepared earlier. Now, with this particular base, what I did do was I made this base as a practice base so that when we were facing clans that had donut bases or ring bases or island bases, whatever you wanted to call it, people in the clan could practice on them. Now you can see it's not quite identical to the other base, but it's similar enough to give you practice on how to defeat these bases. Now the general rule of thumb, and I'll talk about that here, the general rule of thumb for these bases is to come in at some point. It doesn't matter, you need to make that decision yourself, but you enter at some point. Let's just say it was this point here, and wipe out all of this, let's just say, and also all of this. Now the reason that happens, if you come across like that, okay, then if you drop anything here that can get into the middle, say with a jump spell, then without anything here to distract it, it will all run into the middle. And the best thing to send into the middle is either going to be Hogs or Valkyries. And then with a spell in there, the Valkyries will rip the guts out of this. So if you're going to do this, then you need to have, you're basically doing a three-pronged approach. You're coming, one attack is going this way, one attack is going this way, and the third part of the attack is going into the middle. That's the general overall feel. Now, if you have a look at my base that I've made here, you'll see that I have spring traps, spring traps, spring traps. Now whenever anyone's come in with Hogs on this base and they drop Hogs, the Hogs all run around this way. They lose all their Hogs, so Hogs are not a good idea. So I just wanted to show you that before I want to talk about the troops that I made for the base. So go back to the other base and I'll have a look at the troops I made. So with this base, I had the same thing in mind. As you saw on my base, I had a lot of spring traps everywhere. So I figured the same thing here. All these places could have spring traps. All of these places. Obviously, there's not enough spring traps for everything here, but they could have spring traps. And that's a lot of spring traps. So, and there's probably Teslas and things like that in the middle there. Okay, so bearing that in mind, Hogs were out. So my plan of attack was to come in with a Valkyrie bowler attack. Now I'm going to raise this up because I want to show you the plan. So the idea was drop the Queen here, put 4 healers on the Queen, put a wizard on this, and wall break this. Queen should take that out, then she'll come into the gap, no reason to go here, she'll take this out, then come into the gap more and take this out. This was my reasoning, my thinking behind the pathing that she would do. Which way was she going to go after this? I didn't care because my plan would work either way, and that was it didn't matter which way she went. If she went this way, that's cool because I've got a golem and bowlers to send in. So if she goes this way, the golem is going to go in here. Now taking this out, and it would depend, right? Then I send the bowlers in behind the golem and also with the king. Now the bowlers will take out this sort of stuff as they go. The golem in front tanking, the bowlers will take these things out. With the queen coming down this way, once all this stuff was gone, in a line basically across there, I would have a jump spell. And what would go in through that jump spell? 8 Valkyries. Now I contemplated between having a rage and a heal, and I decided that I'd actually have a heal for them. I figured this stuff would path around here, the Valkyries would be, and take, again, the Queen would take all this stuff out as she went. She'd take stuff on both sides as she went. The bowlers would take stuff out on both sides, and the Valkyries would be left in the middle. That was my plan, and also with the initial part, dropping a Hog in here to get the lore and a couple poisons on the Queen Castle. So it's all getting a bit messy there now. So that was the general plan of attack, and saving some wizards for cleanup and things like that. Now the reason being, if you can get your two different parts of the attack, so one's a queen walk, one's a bowler thing going on, and then the third phase is the Valkyries coming in. And again, using that rule of thumb of things in line where you drop, the closest thing needs to be to what you drop, needs to be the Valkyries, for the Valkyries to go in. So if I'd only got up to here, and this is where I wanted them, then, and the same there, then you draw that perpendicular line I've talked about often, and you can see there's no way you'll get the Valkyries in. The Valkyries will run this way and they won't go into the core. So that's the basic principle of this sort of attack. So what we'll do is have a look at how that went in action. I'll talk you through it, and then I'll show you another attack. So we're going to come off with the Queen Walk portion first. Now have a look at what happens with my wall breakers. I thought the Queen would go for the army camp first. So the first wall breaker went in, second wall breaker went over to the right, third wall breaker went closer. Now the reason was that once that archer tower went down, the next closest thing to the wall breaker was over to the right, so that's why that wall breaker wanted to go over that way. So double poison for the clan castle. So the Queen's not going to be subjected to too much damage at the moment. Drop that wizard to help with the Valkyrie if needed. Not needed so much. Now at this point I don't really care which way the Queen goes, because my plan is solid either way. If she goes to the left, then the golem and bowlers will go to the right. If she goes to the right, then the golem and bowlers will go to the left. Now I did intend for my king to also go in. However, I didn't drop him over far enough, as you're going to see. So she's taking damage from an expo and an archer at the moment, and I do have a rage spell, and I'm probably a little bit sloppy on dropping this rage spell when she starts taking the next lot of damage. But yeah, it is what it is. So there's a blower, takes the heal off her a little bit, so I'm like, oh geez, I'm very bit slow on dropping that rage spell. Could have dropped it a second earlier. Now here's the Barb King. I've dropped him down left. The bowler and the golem and the bowlers will go in. So now the Barb King's tanking and taking out trash, while the Queen's taking out trash on the right hand side. And the golem and the bowlers are basically taking care of these weapons out here. Now, so the golem's tanking for the bowlers, the King's distracting the archers on the outside and also taking care of trash. Now I've also got 5 hogs because I was undecided what to do with the extra troop space. Do I bring an extra golem, or do I bring extra Valkyries, or whatever? Now here come the Valkyries. So there was that much going on. I dropped the Valkyries, had the jump spell down early. Almost a bad jump spell too by the look of it, and they only just got in before the jump spell expired. And now here come the hogs up the top side. So that's a little bit of a process that was involved. Now the enemy Queen was not a high level Queen, and my Queen is still alive. So there was that, and with the extra spells that I had, I probably didn't really utilize them as well as I could have. If I'd come in maybe from the right hand side, I would have taken care of the Queen. I'll just watch that again. If I'd come in on the right hand side, we would have taken care of the Queen a little bit better, the enemy Queen a little bit better. However, I decided to come in at the bottom instead of the right hand side because I didn't like the way all that trash was around the outside up there, and I thought there is a good chance if I don't work this correctly. Here goes my luring hog to get the lure in. Got a wizard to make sure that she's not going to path on the outside. Drop that right hand side wizard. That attracts the Valkyrie for some reason, who should have locked onto the Queen straight away, but I guess because I had a hog there, the Valkyrie had to kill the hog. And then my wizard over there was the next closest thing. So I'll just keep this up here like this for a moment, so we can see what happens to my king drop when I get the king actually down. So this is how you pretty well need to attack all ring sort of bases like this, in this sort of thinking, where you're going to take out one side, take out another side, and then send something in through the middle. Now, it could be hogs, but I did choose to send in Valkyries instead of the hogs. That's why. And I chose that because of all the spring traps everywhere. So I've put down an extra wizard to help the Queen, just speed the thing up a little bit. But of course, the archer tower is going to target that wizard soon as... Now, did you see my king at the bottom there? Just bad drop, just not dropped over enough. He had meant to go inside, but that wasn't too bad. It came out good because he distracted the archers and also started doing some cleanup duty on the outside so that the bowlers could get through quicker. So there was a plus side to that I'm not too worried about. Now, The only big issue I had was one heal and one rage spell. And do I save the rage for the queen, or do I save it for the bowlers? Now, as you can see, I decided to save it for the bowlers, trusting that my queen would take out the enemy queen, level 15 queen, and, well, she almost didn't, but my trust in my queen was good. So here come the Valkyries now at the bottom. So, sorry, I moved up and you didn't see the Valkyrie deployment, but you'd seen it earlier. So, Valkyrie's getting attracted to the Skelly spells, taking out the base. There's a heal spell under there, and it's kind of like just keep them healed up while they're dealing with all of those things. That Expo's targeting on my queen. Now the hogs will come. I just dropped those last wizards. Hogs will come, take in that stuff, and that's it, game over for this base. So that was why I chose this sort of attack instead of, say, an air attack or something like that, because this is a good standard way for dealing with these. Now we'll have a look at a Town Hall 9.5. Alright, so as this, let's get this one started. So as this plays out a little, you'll notice that essentially it's the same thing in action. A queen walk at one part of the base, something coming in to clean up the other part of the base, and then Valkyries down through the middle. Now obviously this is a Town Hall 9.5 doing the attacking, and one of the first troops he's upgraded was his heroes, and of course then the Valkyries. But so you've got the queen at the top, wizards and minions just cleaning up a little bit of trash at the bottom. Now once this queen takes out that wizard tower, which she's done, she'll path around to the right hand side towards that enemy queen. You could probably even start to think about the enemy CC, but he's got two poisons coming in. So drop the rage spell to keep the queen healed up while dealing with the enemy CC. Drop a poison spell, keep another poison spell up the sleeve unless he decides to drop it. Keep it up the sleeve for skellies and things. Level 40 rage queen. Raged healers keeping the queen alive while she deals with the enemy queen and the Expo. And now that part of the base is pretty well getting wiped out. So it should be time to start bringing in the bowlers and the king on the bottom half of the base to wipe that out as well. So obviously the queen has decided she's going to shoot walls now instead of moving over towards that cannon, which would be the same thing to do. But now the queen's just going to sit there getting targeted by the Expo and the cannon until needs to rage the queen. So here come the bowlers, and the king got a golem as well for distraction to distract those outer weapons. So the king and the bowlers will all path around to this left hand side. The queen has decided she's done with the wall. Now she's going back up to the top. Expo in the middle is now shooting onto the team of bowlers and the king and everything down there. So slowly that pathing that you saw in the previous base is taking place here. Same sort of thing, got the moat in the middle, queen up one side, bowlers and king and golem down the other. Jump spell goes down. Now first Valkyrie goes in, the crosshairs appear on the king's pad, the rest of the Valkyries go down. So that's what you're looking for as well, dropping that first test Valkyrie, seeing where the crosshairs go, and he's got a rage spell for the middle, and of course being a Town Hall 10 he's got the extra spell, so he can do an extra heal or rage or whatever he wanted to bring. And queen's alive, so you can see, same thing. Barbarian on the left-hand side for the builder's hut. There's another builder's hut at the top. He just dropped a barbarian down there. And there's a troll Tesla at the bottom. So this was a fresh hit on this base, but you can see that it was the same process used that I talked about for the Town Hall 9 hitting that donut base or the ring base or the island base or whatever you want to call it. Same process used. Queen walk one side, bowlers, king, golem the other, and Valkyries up the middle with a jump spell. And that's it, game over for the base. And that's it for this video. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Now, again, question of the day. Why did the donut, seeing as you're doing ring bases and donut bases if you want, why did the donut go to the dentist? The donut went to the dentist to get a filling. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for sticking around. Please leave the video a comment. Leave the video a thumb up. I do appreciate it, and it does help the channel. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.